Hi guys. To get myself, I haven't painted well, a long time now, so I need to get myself back into it. And I didn't want to paint a big expensive model right getting back into the swing of things. I just wanted to paint something that would be fun, easy, and just kind of get that muscle memory and get me back into the swing of things. And I had built an AT-AT kit a long time ago that had just been sitting up in a shelf or in a box or just kept getting moved around. It never had any paint on it, so I thought, perfect, I'll take it and I'll paint it. And after I filmed it, I also found out that I actually filmed myself building it too, because apparently I was just bored that day. So I thought, why not? We'll just put both these pieces together and throw it up. So here you guys enjoy. It's kind of a different way of painting, or not really different, but a way of painting an AT-AT. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. Okay, so to start painting this thing, first thing, obviously, I spray painted a base coat or primer across it that was a gray, since for the most part, and that is it's gray. So we'll start with gray, and then I took apple barrels pewter gray, which is kind of a medium gray, mixed it with some apple barrels just black, a little bit of water, and a little bit of a jet dry dishwasher drying agent, and mix that all together to consistency. I think was everybody always says is about the consistency of milk, and because I am shooting this through the airbrush, so I actually kind of felt like I got this a little runny, which sometimes happens, but it turned out okay. It didn't seem like it spread around too much until I hit one of the legs. I don't remember which one, but it seemed like it was a little watery when it hit the leg. But for everything underneath the vehicle, it turned out pretty good. Okay, so for the next shade, I'm going to use the same pewter gray from Apple Barrel, and I'm going to mix in just some white. And these two are going to be mixed together and with the jet dry and the water and everything to make it consistency of going through the airbrush. And this is going to go from the top down, so it's just really pretty much go over everything. It's just kind of a lighter shade instead of the darker shade. Okay, so for the next color, I'm just taking that same mixture we used of the gray, adding more white to it to make it an even lighter shade of gray, and this is obviously going to be your top highlight. But again, I left it thin enough to go through the airbrush, and as you can see, see the color a little bit. And this I'm doing almost all of the top in this lighter shade, and then a lot kind of like a little thin strip along the top of the edges, just so you have a little bit of color variation between the top and the bottom. Okay, so for the next part, I'm taking that mixture of the light gray and I'm adding blue to this. I added 2 or 3 drops of an airbrush paint blue, and I'm brushing this onto just some panels on the side. I basically what the blue was to kind of go kind of a blued steel, and where there's not this kit, there's not a whole lot of panels on the sides that stand out, so I just kind of picked some random spots where I wanted it to be a different color. I didn't do this on the legs as much. This is mainly just for the body. The idea behind this is to change the color on certain spots so that it doesn't all look like one giant piece of steel bolted on. It needs to kind of look like it's multiple different pieces of steel, or repairs have been done so that the steel's been replaced, that kind of thing. After we finish with the blue, what we'll do is we'll go back to the very first color we use, which is that darker gray, the gray and the black mixed, and water it down a little bit more just to make it so it doesn't completely overpower. And we'll do the same thing with that darker colored, and we'll just pick out spots all over the unit where I just want a darker colored panel. And what I didn't do on this one, but I kind of wish I would have, is you could also do this with white, just pure white, or a really, really, really light gray or something like that, to again give it another color throughout the panel. And it really, because what we're going to do with the next step, it doesn't matter where you put this is really just trying to add some different colors to the vehicle. Okay, so for the next part, I'm taking some apple barrel black, mixing it with the drying agent and water, and making it kind of like a wash, but it's going to be a very, very dark wash, no matter. But as thin as you want to go is fine. It's not too bad. I actually thought it was getting a little too runny, so I added some acrylic medium just to give it a little bit more thickness. And then I have a nice wide brush, and I'm just basically slathering it onto the vehicle. I am streaking it down as much as I can, but I definitely want to get into the nooks and cranny. After you get a section done, I grab a paper towel and I just start wiping it off. At first I was trying to do just vertical wipes, but that didn't work, so I ended up getting in there and rubbing it off. This will leave the dark and the recesses and lighten up the rest of it. And as you can kind of see, some of the blue even rubs off, which is perfect. It's just what we want. So the next thing I'm doing is just taking that pewter gray, mixing it with white on a palette, and getting a nice, it's not really big, but it's a soft brush, and so I'm going to do a dry brush. So put a whole bunch on the brush, get most of it off, and then just hitting the corners and the edges, and just giving a little bit more crispness to the corners, since the wash definitely takes away a lot of the corners. After that, I'm only going to show you just one side because I figured you don't need to see me dry brushing the whole vehicle. I think everybody kind of gets the idea of how to dry brush. So, and I did do the legs with the dry brush also, just not tremendously. So the next thing I want to do is I have a black wash, a brown wash, both from Testers, and I'm going to use some water, and I will take, this is a 2-brush kind of method where I will take water, so anywhere you see the black brush, it's water, and then add some brown or black or both, depending on the situation. And I started with those little divot spots because they were the most obvious, and just adding it in. and then going back to the water brush and pulling that paint down to simulate the streaking in the, like, water is going to streak down the side of these things. These things are huge. So that's what this is simulating, just going through the whole vehicle, adding in a little bit of water, a little bit of other stuff, streaking it down until we just add a little of that color. Okay, the final step is to add some red into where the cockpit's at, and unfortunately, although you can watch me painting it, you can't really see the red in there, but just from a camera angle. But it definitely stands out just right if you look at it without being overpowered. So here's some pictures of the final product. I think it turned out pretty good, so thanks for watching.